In the name of Allah, and peace and blessings be upon Sayyidina Muhammad. Dear students of Qatar University, dear guests, this is our second webinar for our fall 25 semester, organized by the core curriculum program with the purpose of connecting our students with the concepts we teach in classes and enrich their experience with actual real-life case studies. Today, our topic is art, identity, and the future of creative industries, presented by installation artist Mrs. Shebani. Mrs. Fatma Al Shebani, who we welcome her today. Creative industries is an important topic today, especially with technical advancement that the world is undergoing. Creative industries is about industries and products built around the concept of creativity, such as arts, writing, acting, singing. All these industries enhance the heritage, the cultural heritage of society, and develop the economy. Qatar University, especially the core curriculum program, is no stranger to creative industries, as it has as it now offers a new creative industries course. And therefore, we have organized and hosted this webinar. Now I will leave you with the Master of Ceremonies to present this webinar. Reda. Peace, mercy, and blessings of Allah be upon you. Thank you very much, Dr. Masoud Abdel Hadi. Esteemed professors, dear colleagues, and honorable attendees, welcome all to this distinguished virtual seminar organized by the core curriculum program at the Deanship of General Studies, titled A Success Story in Creative Industries. First, I would like to introduce myself. I am Reda Al-Tahir, and I'm honored to be the presenter of this event. We are pleased today to meet an inspiring artistic personality who has left a clear mark on the local and global artistic and cultural scene, artist Fatma Al Shebani. Artist Fatma Al Shebani is one of the pioneers of visual art in Qatar and the founder and director of Fatma Al Shebani Studio, formerly known as the Artistic Design Gallery. She is known for her deep passion for art and innovation, as well as her ability to blend authenticity and modernity in her works, reflecting cultural identity with contemporary spirit. Her professional journey began as a columnist for Al Ra'i Kuwaiti newspaper, where she addresses social issues and public opinion issues in the Gulf region through her articles. She also worked with the Ministry of Education as an art teacher and contributed to developing artistic material. Throughout her career, artist Fatma Al Shebani has held several important advisory positions, including her membership in the Advisory Committee of the Environment Authority in Abu Dhabi and the Consulting Committee of Qatar Foundation. She has also served as a consultant at the Public Works Authority, Ashghal, and as a member of the Q Media Advisory Committee, offering her expertise in designing artistic and cultural projects within Qatar and beyond. Within the creative industries, artist Fatma Al Shebani is considered an aspiring model of cultural entrepreneurship. She combines art management and cultural marketing through the establishment of a specialized art studio that oversees the production and organization of art exhibitions and events inside and outside Qatar. She also holds advanced certificates in art marketing and organizing international exhibitions in Beirut and Paris, contributing to strengthening the presence of Qatari art on the global stage. Through her experience, she embodied the creative industries are not just produced, but comprehensive systems that unite identity. Today, we welcome her. Please let me welcome artist Fatma Al Shebani. Thank you for this introduction. Thank you, Qatar University. Thank you, Deanship of General Studies and the Core Curriculum Program. I don't know where to start, but let me start at the beginning. Thank you to all the students who are attending this webinar. Let me talk about a success story, a 25-year-old success story in the field of creative industries. As she has said, I was an art teacher for 11 years, and then I took a different career path by focusing on my artwork and art exhibitions. My first exhibition was at Doha exhibition, which was my first exhibition, the first exhibition to hold my artworks. It was in 2004. It was in the year 2004, Doha exhibition. That was my first personal exhibition in 2004. Allow me to tell you that when I felt that I have wasted many years of my life and that I have to catch up with the convoy of arts, I wanted to hit two birds with one stone, because there was Doha Song Festival. I decided to start my exhibition at the same time so that it would also receive some media attention. It was sponsored by the Ministry of Education, the minister, God rest her soul, Sheikh Al Mahmoud. And then the next exhibition was in Beirut in 2004, end of summer, so that more people would be in Beirut. In 2004, under the sponsorship of the Lebanese cultural minister. Another one was in Riyadh in 2005, in Jeddah in 2005, sponsored by the Minister of Labor, Dr. Ghazi Al-Qusaybi, and the former ambassador. That was in 2005. I wanted to present my work to the most people in the Arab world. It was sponsored by Prince Faisal, and I was lecturing. Meanwhile, I was giving lectures with Bahaya Al-Hariri in Lebanon at the Lebanese University. Another exhibition was in Bonn in 2006 with several Qatari artists in Kunst Museum. And then in Paris, the Mont Arab Institute. This is in Kunst, in Germany. And it was supported by Arab and Gulf countries And then in 2006, Modern Art Museum in Kuwait. And then Abu Dhabi. And then Binali Sharjah in Emirates, United Arab Emirates in 2008. And this was my path, several, from one art exhibition to the next. This is a lecture at Eco Home in 2009 at the the Lebanese University in Beirut. In 2013, Al-Battula was produced and exhibited in Abu Dhabi Art Fair in Emirates. This is all in Abu Dhabi. In 2013, Bethlehem in Palestine. And I also gave a lecture at Dar al-Kalima University. And this is my exhibition in Bethlehem, Palestine, sponsored by the Palestinian Cultural Minister, Siham al-Barghouthi. This is also in Palestine. We also painted on the apartheid wall at that time. In 2015, Battula was, my artwork Battula was moved to Art Fair London, which was called Art 15. These are some of the guests at the exhibition. This is interactive art, installation art, and conception art, such as, so people were taking their picture wearing the Battula next to the artwork. In 2016, it was Bokhla, and it was in New York. I was honored to be the only Arab and Gulf person to take part in this exhibition, and then it was moved to London, P21 Gallery. Also, this is in London, Regent University, London. That's in 2016, London. I just want to explain to you how my artwork was moved from one exhibition to the other until today. In Jeddah, 2017, I took part in Jeddah, an art gallery showing the works of several Gulf artists. More pictures. In 2017, I took part in Art Fair Beirut. Glory Rises. This was my last art fair. This was the last art fair then at that place. And then it went to Paris. Bochnak, after it came back from London, it was bought, or it was acquired by Qattara, and now it's Battula, and both Battula and Bochnak are exhibited in Qattara in 2000 and since 2017. Amongst the exhibitions was The Mother, installation art in 2018. And it was about writing letters to motherland and pinning them onto trees. It was an interactive art gallery. That's the mother in Doha, 2018. In Berlin, 2023, I was invited by the Arabic Cultural House in Berlin. It was called Women of Steel, because we were both working on metal and steel structures. It was hosting my work, featuring my work, as well as a German artist. And this is another exhibition 2 years ago. And this is in Berlin. Also, it was interactive with the guests, where they would wear the bochna and have their picture taken with the original work. I also took part in the Bridge 2024 in Venice, Italy. It's an art exhibition in Venice as part of cultural exchange with Venice. And now the Media City Qatar owns this piece of art. This is in Venice. And it was given to guests as giveaways. Now let me talk to you about art, identity, and the future of creative industries. What is the purpose of this webinar? The purpose is to support the new generation and give them self-confidence. It's important for the artist to have a strong self-identity. Art is an identity. How does an artist be inspired by cultural heritage and the environment they live in? Like I was inspired by the Qatari attire. I practiced modernization of the past. So, for instance, this is a building I was working on in Abu Dhabi, the Environment Authority, and I was charged to mix the elements heritage with modernity. This is, for instance, Marriott Marquis Hotel in 2011. I had to work on this mosaic mural. This is in Jerusalem, Palestine, of course. Painting on the apartheid wall, the West Bank barrier. And this is also at the Gate Mall, in front of the Gate Mall. In 2013, I installed it at, it's called Al Salam structure. Also the Uridu sculpture in West Bay area in 2015, carrying the Uridu logo. Now let's go back to the Bochnak. When I created the Bochnak, I wanted to create time travel and revisiting the past in a modern way, as if we were at a different dimension. All my artwork is pro-women because I believe in letting a woman's soul free. The Bochnak, I created it as an alias. So I'm pro-women because women inspire, women can taste beauty. Women has always had a high standard with artists. She was a goddess. She was the source of beauty in past civilizations. Bohnak, I chose the bohnak because that's what girls wore before getting married. And after marriage, they would wear the battula. So these kind of attires are now more or less extinct. They only come back in Ramadan or in cultural occasions. But now they're going out of style. Not a lot of people wear them. Okay, this is another al-adiyat, which means horses. These are 9 horses. They signify the 9 peaks in the Qatari flag, and they are led by a specific leader. I chose the name Adiyat for this artwork because it's in the Quran, because this is a word from the Quran. Of course, Al-Adiyat, this artwork, exists now in Al-Lu'lu'a, in the Pearl District. This piece of work, Grinding Seeds, was inspired by the Gulf heritage, by Gulf history, because that's what happened before Ramadan, grinding seeds before Ramadan. And now it's being exhibited in Marsa Arabia in the Pearl. These items are made of bronze, featuring birds in Lusail Palace, 2020. These are all featured in Lusail Palace. Now this is Rixos Gulf Hotel in Ras Bou Abboud, featuring some of my work. These are some of my works. This is Al Samra tree, a man from the Gulf hugging Al Samra tree protectively, and it's in Qatara. I used the Bokhnak to create gift items, 22 editions during the Mondial, during the football matches in 2022. This is an Isdan Hotel. That's my latest work, Smells Like Heaven, inspired by how mothers smell, how herbs smell. And it's at the St. Regis Al Mouj in Muscat, Oman. It's made of bronze. This is also Al Bokhna. It was at an event in Dreama. And this piece of work was in Qatar. It was installed last year, about Arabic literature, Arabic stories. And this was also about horses in Qatar. This is my last work that I installed around 2 months ago at the National Cyber Security Agency. I used national heritage to inspire me to create something that refers to cybersecurity. And this is also cybersecurity. These are maps on tables made of bronze. Now let me explain to you now some of my artwork. You would ask, how did my artwork develop from a design on paper into an artwork in a public area? First of all, study, practice. That's me at the workshop. First, I would draw a sketch, and then I would do a 3D and a 2D. When I'm at the workshop, I work with my own hands. I'm always there at the workshop. I don't rely on anyone else. And that's the reason for success. You have to know that when a person is keen and careful with his own work, he will become successful. True, it's tiresome and fatiguing, but it's like a baby. You take care of that baby until it grows up. So there are several stages. This all came with practice and experience. Art is a talent, 1% talent and 99% experience. So with experience, you can do anything. With practice, you can reveal your identity as an Arab and an artist. In our area, art is an important part of creativity. All of my products link my Arab identity and my Gulf identity of the past and present with the outer world. This is all an attempt to create a dialogue between modernity and history, between the Gulf culture and the world outside. So art is a way to communicate with the world and enhance the image of Qatar. The future of cultural industries, of creative industries, is different because now there is 3D AI. So we have to use all these items. You in this generation in our generation, we used to study anatomy, but now it's much easier for you because using the AI, you can use it to design and to draw and to sketch. Your life is now much easier, but it cannot replace creativity and thought. It's an extension, but not a replacement. Of course, opportunities in the Arab world and the Gulf are rich. In Qatar, a strong infrastructure of museums, galleries, projects exist. We have an audience thirsty for art, not like before, but much, much better. we have many digital tools, such as Qatar's vision for 2030. All of this enables Qatar to become a hub, a regional hub for creative industries. Your responsibility is not just creativity. Of course, this is an example of how I took my mother's bracelet and I created an art piece from it. Your responsibility is not just creativity. Rather, you are the guards of heritage. Now, this is a picture and the design of my mother's bracelet. And I worked on it as a sketch, drawing. This is how I start my artwork, using drawings and sketching. Of course, this is a huge artwork, 5 meters times 7.5. This is how it is fixated to the ground, the installation plan. This is with lighting, of course. Of course, I always offer the client everything so that they can imagine what it would look like, the final product. Sometimes I create a mock-up, a small mock-up of the wall. This is the 3D model of this particular artwork. This is in the factory when we were creating the structure, the internal metal structure. I want to show you how we started off and how we ended up. These are the molds. These are the molds. Of course, the molds are created from pottery, from 3D, from several items. This is the wielding. This is how we choose the colors of the bronze and the finishing. This is the wielding, the final stages of the wielding.
Okay. Okay.
This is how we were installing it at the site. Of course, I'm a little, I micromanage. I like to run everything myself. I like to oversee everything myself. And this is the final product. Art is not a luxury. Art is the language that introduces us to the world. It is the economy of the future. I think now I have clarified my idea. Any questions? And thank you for listening. Thank you, Ms. Fatma, for this wonderful presentation of your artwork since 2004. Of course, you were practicing before this, but your artwork gallery was evident since 2004. Now, creative industries, it's an art. And the concept of creative industries, is it just one concept or several concepts? And how do we reach one common understanding of creative industries? Of course, it is not one concept. There are several concepts of creative industries. There is nothing in the world that will solicit nonsense more than an art, more than a painting at a museum, which means it will solicit a lot of opinions. So of course it has several concepts and definitions. It must never reflect, it should not reflect one thought. In fact, it would best reflect the identity, the Qatari identity, from creating something beautiful out of something that it was not beautiful, like Picasso's work. We have a problem with personal identity, but this will solve art identity. And I would like to think that I was able to utilize this in my art. Here we have another question. You have talked about 3D printing. Does this limit the artist's role? Can AI and 3D replace the artist? And how will this challenge be handled in the future? I was asked that question before in Al Nahar newspaper, and I answered that AI would never replace a human's mind. A person is unique, has a different identity, endless thinking, mindset, especially if the artist is not just presenting beauty, is not addressing the eye, is also addressing the mind. So no AI would replace a human. Now art students are thinking about creative industries, of going into creative industries. How do you suggest they go about that? What were your challenges? How did you face them? Someone must have put you down or discouraged you. For instance, you are an engineer. Maybe someone had advised you to work in engineering and forget about art. Of course, I had never expected to become an artist. And of course, there was a lot of resistance at first. But what helped me is I never looked back. I always looked ahead. And every time I would fall, I would stand back on my feet. Every time I was stabbed in the back, I ran forward. So this was the advantage I had, the edge I had. Other artists were waiting for cultural authorities to support them. I wasn't looking for that. I would spend on my work. I would spend out of my own pocket on my work. At the beginning, I would earmark some money for the exhibitions. I totally relied on myself until I made it, and until people started believing in me. So my advice to students and the new generation is for you to believe in yourself and your own strength, internal strength. I did not study engineering. I studied art teaching, but my artwork helped me develop my mind. First, I think students should believe in themselves and believe in Allah. When you believe in yourself and believe that the government is supplying you with all these means, you will eventually succeed. Of course, at first you will fail once and twice and thrice, but eventually you will succeed. And it's very nice, yes. Don't wait until you are supported. Support yourself. Don't wait for anyone to come and support you. You need to work and work on your own goals. Don't wait for anyone to help you. What were some of the challenges facing you in your artwork, and how did you overcome them? There were many challenges. Of course, the first challenge is not having the lack of specialized museums in art, specialized factories in creating artwork. There were no factories. That's why I created my own factory in Lebanon, in Beirut. And then also I created a relationship and connections in China, with Chinese factories. Yeah. So the first challenge is not having, is the lack of factories and specialized labor in the field of artwork. That's why I'm thinking of creating an art factory in Doha. Another challenge is that I broke a lot of molds. Sometimes I didn't like the work and I would break the mold and recreate it. Every piece of work, every piece of art is special, and I have broken a lot of them because I was very keen to have every piece of work in excellent condition. Another challenge was the lack of belief in me as a woman. Of course, being a woman was a challenge. However, everybody respected me eventually. I have noticed there was a lot of support recently, especially during the last 20 years. There was a lot of support for the art world. So can you tell me more about this? Yes, of course. Qatar, because of the efforts of Her Excellency Sheikh Mayasa Al Thani and Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad and Mr. Khaled Al Suliti and Sheikh Abdul Rahman bin Hamad. Of course, all this proved that there is a lot of support for arts and artists in across all fields. So of course, Qatar changed to the better because of this belief in arts and artists. Now it's way better for the new generations. It's easier for the new generation. They will have it easy. Qatar has reached an excellent stage, and it's a very nurturing environment for artists. And I always say it's feminine. It's a feminine hug. because it embraces artists and creative individuals. The last question, Ms. Fatma. We have a question by student Aldana, and I will also follow up with a question. Did you have any fears or worries before starting on this career path? And also, I will add, do you have a mission that you are trying to send out, or a message to send out to the future generations? Yes, of course, at the beginning, I was scared of that people will not believe in my talent. But as a woman, I do not get scared easily. I'm a woman who went to Gaza and to Gaza, Palestine, so I don't fear easily. Sometimes I used to think of resigning, of retiring, ending this career, but then I would go back. Sometimes, of course, I went through the ups and downs, but I always came back stronger. I have no fears. I believe in the saying, continue to break your heart so that you open it until you open it. Because creativity always needs struggle. And art and creative people. And creative people carry within them their identity, and I carry within me my Qatari identity. Now, of course, that's beautiful. Let me ask you my last question. How was the beginning of your path in this field, and what was your first artwork? Of course, in the 90s, I participated in group exhibitions, and I felt one of many, and I felt unseen. So I had to think a little bit differently, to become a little bit more selfish, to leave the pack or the herd and go solo or go alone. So I thought of a plan of how to select the correct timings. And I started my first art exhibition, first art gallery in 2003 to showcase my work. Generally speaking, another question is, does inspiration come from within the artist or from outside the artist? The answer is the artist needs to go through a lot of experience, so many life experiences to be inspired. A month ago, I was in London attending a fair, and I was also in Paris attending an exhibition. The reason why I attended this is to be inspired by the artwork that I see in these galleries. So always look for sources of inspiration. My final question from Dr. Nisreen. Do you see that the role of art is to present reality or to change it? I think the artists need to make viewers think. The viewer needs to use their brains and their mind and think. The audience or the guests need to be able to analyze and think and see it in their own way. Miss Fatma Al Shebani, artist, the Qatari artist, creative and inspiring. Thank you for being with us today. And thank you to our students who attended. Thank you for everyone who has attended. See you again soon. And peace and blessings. Thank you. Bye.